Like, this whole snakening has just benefited EU.
He was NA savior. He was destined to take down Peterborough and Poyo, and now he's going to be watching from the sidelines.
100% his own fault that he's not playing in FNCS.
The NA duo disqualification saga. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys have been locked into what happened over on NAF and CS.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna try and give you a recap. I had it like all listed out, and I'm gonna try my best to go through it all here. And I'm probably still gonna get it wrong, but I'm gonna try anyway. So, for people who don't know, after week 1 of the qualifiers in NA, a bunch of teams split, or one team split, and it led to a mass snaking once again in NA. And to give you the rundown of what it was, Dukes was playing with Noxy, and obviously Miro was playing with Aviv. Essentially, Miro snaked Aviv to go play with Duke because Duke didn't want to play with Noxy anymore because they didn't do that good in Qualifier 1. And so, obviously, Miro, a very big player, and Duke, another very big player, coming to play with each other meant that there was now a power vacuum, you know, now who's going to play with who. Quanti was playing with Chubbs, and obviously they were contesting Peterborough and Poyo at Grim Gate, right? And Quanti and Chubbs were involved in that whole big saga. Chubbs went, Aviv is better than Quanti, so I think I'm going to go play with Aviv instead. And so Chubbs ended up playing with Aviv. That left Quanti to play with, who did Quanti end up queuing up with again? Let me check here. Quanti ended up queuing up with...
Byler?
Byler, yeah.
With Byler, yes, because... So basically, Byler was playing with Crisp, but then I think Crisp left Byler to go play with
Noxy.
with Noxy, and then I failed already to explain all of that. Yeah. But essentially, a bunch of players split up with a bunch of players. But what these players didn't do before they split was check and read the rules of FNCS. And so, for the people wondering, what were the rules, Levin? What do you mean the rules of FNCS? What? There's no rules. We can just split. That's how it's always worked. No. Epic themselves came out and confirmed. And what the rule was, it was basically like rule 4.1.6. In addition, we want to remind you that players may only participate on one team at a time throughout each session. If a player qualifies to the semi-finals multiple times with different teams through series points advancement, as listed in section 2.4.4, only the team with the highest series point value will be qualified to the semi-finals. All other teams will not qualify regardless of their series points and will be removed from the series point leaderboard. So how this actually manifested was that based off of how everybody placed, it meant that Duke qualified playing with Miro, Chubbs qualified playing with Aviv, Byler qualified playing with Crisp, but that left Quanti and Noxy all alone out of the reckoning, even though the points that they got playing with their new duos in Qualifier 2 wasn't enough to qualify them to the lower bracket semi-finals. So they had enough points based off how they played in Qual 2, but because they had played with other teams and they got outplaced,
there we go.
Qualified from FNCS. So, yeah. Hopefully I got through that. Did I get through that all right?
Yeah, it seems about right.
Yeah.
That was a good recap.
Perfectly.
Thank you.
I don't know how much that's really good. Like, that rule now, everyone knows it. I don't know how much as a player, if you're someone who already wants to split with your duo, is that really going to change your thought process next time? Because if you're like, we did bad, I'm 100% doing better with this player, you're still going to split. A lot of North American players, a lot of those players who are, you know, on orgs have got like some form of salary, obviously still want to, you know, qualify to grands and whatever. A lot of them would take the risk if they don't feel they're going to do well in grands. So I don't know how much that's going to change, but it is quite funny. The fact that we're running into a situation where people are being locked out because, you know, a duo 5 steps along split up, and it's meant you can't play FNCS. That's basically what happened with Quanti, was like Mirror, or like Dukes and Mirrors ended up during, which then meant Aviv was by himself. So Aviv asked Chubbs, which then meant that Quanti was alone. And it's like, it's not even Quanti's fault. Or it's not even Chubbs' fault, really. Obviously, he did say yes, but like, if you're, you know, you're looking at Aviv versus Quanti, you're going to play with Aviv, right? But it's not really Quanti or Chubbs' fault. It's a duo so far, like, further along the line that doesn't even have anything to do with you.
Yeah, it's It's funny because I was watching like Aussie stream when like it was all sort of kicking off and everyone was sort of realizing what was going on, and he chucked a bunch of them in the call. Like he got Miro, Conti, a bunch of them were in the call, and they were all sort of just like, we don't really know what's happening. It was funny because at a certain point, I think Miro literally said was like, you know what, none of us deserve to play. Let's all. I hope they disqualify all of us because none of us deserve to play after this shit. And in the end, it was really just a couple that got screwed. And like you said, Harry, man, it's unfortunate. Like Conti tweeted it himself, saying, I've just been screwed because Miro, you know, decided he didn't want to play with his duo anymore. And that means I can't play FNCS. It's a tough one because I think you're right in that I don't know how much it deters people down the line. And I'm guessing that's why they added the rule, to try and deter people.
Yeah.
But again, it probably still doesn't do it that much. I just thought it was very funny, though. It's a shame we won't get to see Conti and Noxy, because I'd been watching Noxy at the start of the season with Dukes, and I thought they looked all right. I remember I watched a couple of the games from Cash Cup. I thought they looked all right. And he was a player who did decent last FNCS, right, as well. So now he's just not going to make it back to Grands when he's, you know, clearly a good enough player to be making it there. And obviously Conti was the one person, he was NA savior. He was the one that he was destined to take down Peterbot and Poyo, and now he's going to be watching from the sidelines.
Yeah.
Can we not beat around the bush a little bit here, right? I do think it's their own fault in it. Obviously, it's the rules, it's a little, but
yeah.
For Conti specifically, he decided to con Peterbot, right? Which obviously is not going to go too well. Like, you're obviously not just going to have a really good star-making performance if you new Geo or whatever. You're obviously just going to do bad. And he like kind of just did it for the clout and for the stream or something. And it's kind of just bitten back, right? Like it's 100% his own fault that he's not playing in FNCS. Obviously the rules are a little bit annoying. But that's just Fortnite, isn't it? There's always some rule that catches you somewhere.
I mean, Chubbs and Conti did not. I just looked because I wondered how they did in that first week. They came 24th. They didn't do bad. They did pretty well. And Chubbs, maybe it's Chubbs' fault, to be honest. But he made the right decision. He came 4th with a Vive. So it's like, realistically, like they did well. And like if you're Conti,
it's not like they weren't bad.
You're probably sitting there like, we're in a really good spot to qual up. Let's just, chill, go next week and we're fine. And then, But no, I agree. It's like, I don't know. It is the player's fault, obviously. It is the player's fault.
Yeah,
like if you're the best duo, you're not going to get split with. So obviously, it's slightly their fault.
I don't think anyone's absolving them of blame. Of course, it's their fault. Read the rules next time, dummies. You know. But at the end of the day, I think what you're saying is harsh. I don't think that's true. One, I don't think he was doing it for the clout, etc. Like I actually don't think he was doing it for any of those reasons. I think he genuinely just thought, like, what's the point? Like, GG. Like, either I'm gonna go Grimgate and I'm gonna get this shit and I'm gonna have fun, or it's GG, go next. And on top of that, it's like it's different if they were actually doing bad. Like they came 24th in round 4. Like they were in a good position. Like it's not like they were like crashing out of FNCS. I think it's just unlucky that there was a better player available. I mean, again, it's like if any of us are in that situation, if there is a chance to just play with a better player, like in most cases, you're going to take it. Yes, it definitely, I think, added for Chubbs' decision. Like Chubbs clearly wasn't as confident conning Peterbot in that at Gate as Conti was, right? It was Conti's idea. Chubbs was having to follow along with it. And so he was already a bit of like a weak link in that sense of he wasn't really backing the idea. Now there's a better player available to play with. I'm going to just jump at that, right? But I do think I think it's very unlucky for the people that got. I think it wouldn't be as bad if they actually just didn't do well with the newer duos. The fact that with the newer duos, they actually did good enough to still make lowers. The rules are the rules, man. You know
the one Conti, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it just sucks for him. Like he got snaked. I don't know what the solution is. Like, is the solution to just make it so you can't switch teammates between week 1 and week 2?
Oh, but that's going to be so messy.
No. So as much as we're having this conversation, I actually am fine with the rule now that people know it. Because I think now that people know it, it's cool. I think the problem was just that people didn't really know, and it's their fault for not knowing because they didn't read the rules. But I actually am fine with the rule. I thought, to be honest, I said when it was all kicking off in Aussie's chat, I said I think it'd be funnier if just all the teams that were below the highest placing team, the highest placing team, the rest of you, all of you.
Like, kind of battle between all of them.
They still could have. It just needed to play a bit better, no? Like not saying I'm some peak performance expert in FNCS, obviously not. But if he needed to beat a 24th, why is he not trying to beat that? Do you know what I mean? He just didn't play as good as he needed to. So, and the other players did, right? They all got better duos and they played better and they had a better week. So, sort of on them and their responsibility that they played bad.
No, I agree.
So,
I was going to say the one team this benefits is Paco and Mixon. Miro has now left the spot. And now we can all agree that I think Chubbs is probably worse than Miro, especially as Miro should land there now for a season, or now land there for the majority of the season. It's helping EU. Like this whole snakening has just benefited EU. And you know what? I'm grateful for Miro getting bored and decided to switch teammates because it gives Paco and Mixon a best chance at either being uncontested if Chubbs and Aviv don't do well in the finals because we have no idea how well they're going to do, or doing better off spawn because, again, Miro's probably a better player than Chubbs at the end of the day.
And on top of that, Peterbot confirms wins Grands now. So congratulations to Peterbot and Poyo for your Grand Finals win. Looking forward to that. Like we didn't already know that. But now you're right. It served to benefit all the people that weren't involved.
Yeah.
Not many of the people benefited. And like we were sort of saying, a lot of it, because we were talking about last week, we talked about the other NA snaking that happens, right? With a couple of the other teams. And a lot of it, again, just feels like a lot of sideways moves. To be fair, maybe for Miro and Dukes, maybe they're probably looking at their teams better off. No, they're definitely looking at their teams better off. Yeah. But like for the rest of them, a lot of it is just like, it's a bit of a sideways move. I don't know how long this really serves to benefit you guys, but oh well. It's a shame, I guess we won't get to see Quanti and Noxy. The rest of them we will see though. So, it's a good thing that we get to see some of those guys. And yeah, we'll see what happens next season.